Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, well, it is just after the start of the hour, so I'll go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for this orientation and virtual platform training for our oral presenters at the 2022 AOCS Annual Meeting and Expo. Thank you for being here. Now, we are planning over 600 individual presentations within 80 sessions over 3 days. As of Monday, we had 938 registrants for the meeting. And based on history, we know we can anticipate quite a few more coming in. So when it's all said and done, we anticipate 1,400 registrants for this year's meeting. Now, the 2022 annual meeting will be AOCS's first hybrid meeting, which is no small undertaking. Of the 600 planned oral presentations, approximately half will be presented from the podium in Atlanta, with the other half being presented via pre-recorded video. Now, all presentations will be shown to the in-person audience in Atlanta, as well as live streamed out to our virtual audience and recorded for on-demand viewing at your leisure. Now, joining me today are members of our planning team, Bonnie Shea from Conference Direct, and Robert Woods from the virtual meeting platform Breakout. And I'll hand it over to Bonnie quick for a first overview.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're joining us from today. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to learn a little bit more about the platform in which we are using this year for our hybrid meeting. Just a quick poll so we can have a better understanding of how you're presenting this year. Are you presenting in person or virtually? And this will also help us make sure that we're engaging everyone here for which role you're in which role you're presenting. All right, we have a pretty close half and half so far. All right, we have about 21% of you presenting via virtually via pre-record and 17% in person. Fantastic. Wonderful. Well, just a quick overview. I wanted to present you with a timeline. So at this point, now is the time to begin preparing for your presentation. There are a lot of resources available on the AOCS site under the Speaker Resource Center. We are also providing a link to that in case you need that again. It was also in your email letter as a presenter. If you have not done so, and thanks to those who have registered thus far, but if you have not, please register as soon as possible for the meeting. By April 15th, you will receive a link for this training recording, as well as some supplemental resources with links that will help you prepare for your presentation, whether it's in person or pre-recorded. And on April 18th, you can expect access to the virtual meeting platform itself, where you can begin to log in using your AOCS's credentials, and then uploading your slides if you're presenting in person. And again, those slides would be as a resource for attendees. And by April 27th, uploading your final deadline to upload your slides will be on April 27th, and also your pre-recorded presentation. All of that will be due no later than April 27th. We know sometimes things happen in your schedules, but if you need to cancel your presentation, or if you need confirmation of the time allotment for your presentation, please reach out to Lauren. She can help you with those questions. If you're presenting in person, please arrive in the meeting room 20 minutes before the start of your session. This is where you can upload your presentation at the podium laptop. Please bring your final presentation on a USB to the meeting room. We cannot switch out computers. This is really important because we can't swap out computers due to the live streaming as well as the recording. So all presenters must bring their final presentation to the meeting room on a USB to upload to the podium laptop. Also, it'll allow you to meet the session chair and your fellow presenters. Your time slot for your presentation includes your Q&A time period. So for example, if you're doing a 20-minute presentation slot, you have a 20-minute presentation slot, then you could do your presentation for 15 minutes, for example, and leave those 5 minutes for the Q&A at the end of your presentation. Again, all handouts and are due on the 27th, uploaded into the system. If you are presenting virtually via pre-recording, please again review the speaker resources and the links that we'll be sharing with you. But begin your pre-recording your presentation as soon as possible. Uploading your pre-recorded presentation in an MP format is important. And again, the timeline is April 27th. This is the video that will be played during your presentation time slot. So depending on what your presentation time slot is, most of them are 20 minutes, but please refer to the schedule for your actual allotment for time. But you can choose as a presenter to use your full duration of your presentation for your talk, or you can reserve a few minutes at the end of your session, your allotted time for the Q&A. If you have any questions about uploading your presentation, your slides, please refer to the help for our virtual meeting team, which is listed here and we'll also put in the chat for you. So on to the Q&A review. Again, I'll take it in two separate categories, whether you're presenting in person or pre-recorded. Again, most presentations are 20 minutes, but the time slots do vary. So please keep in mind what your presentation includes for Q&A time. So for Q&A, if you're presenting in person, we'll be taking questions from the audience. The session chairs will be reviewing an online chat and we'll pose those questions and read those out loud to the presenters. And then the session chairs will be able to read out loud the responses coming back. Virtual and pre-recorded sessions for Q&A, it is not required that the presenters are there in person in live online. However, if you are, you can also handle the Q&A as it comes and answer those as well. The Q&A with virtual attendees will take place in the chat in the platform. So questions from the in-person attendees can be heard if the attendees are using the aisle mics, but the session chairs will be there to repeat the questions out loud and then respond. And the session chairs will be asked to read all of the Q&A out loud for the benefit of the in-room attendees as well. And just a quick overview before I hand it over to my colleague, Robert. What we're going to review today is give you an example of what the landing page of the platform looks like and how to log in, give you a brief overview of the platform itself, demonstrate how speakers can find their profiles and update it, how you can find the date and time and titles of your presentation, how you upload your presentation, and also your pre-recorded presentation, and then how the Q&A will be facilitated in both in person and virtually. All right. So I will, at this point, hand it over to Robert.
Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Woods. I'm with Breakout. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. And I'm going to share my screen. And I'm actually going to turn off my camera because I tend to lean into the mic or lean into my video and point. So this is the website, the landing page that you will be at when you follow the links that the AOCS sends you. This is going to be the website for all the attendees and for anyone who's viewing the site for you to interact with Q&A. So when you go here, you'll simply go to the login. Minimize this real quick. There we go. Go to the login. And this is going to redirect you actually to the AOCS website. This login, so if you have username or password issues here, you'll deal directly with the AOCS using the normal forget password, forget username system. Otherwise, you'll just log in using your password here. Oh boy, 1 second. I need to, and this is actually a great example of what happens when you use an incognito browser and you need to get your password real quick. 1 second, folks. I'm gonna just get my password real quick.
I'll just jump in to say I'm monitoring the
Please.
chat right now. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them there. There will also be time at the end for questions, so don't feel like you have to put them in the chat. But one of the things I did want to mention is a lot of the resources that Bonnie mentioned previously, those are all going to be found in our Presenter Resources Center. So I put the link to that in the chat. And Bonnie also mentioned you will be receiving an email on Friday, which will include a link to this presentation on demand, as well as the slides. And then we'll give you a nice recap in the email itself of your top to-dos. So we will recap this for you in a written form.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to just go ahead and share a different screen with you real quick. Just so I shouldn't have used the incognito browser, and I apologize for that. So I'm going to go open this up real quick. Sorry, this brief hiccup, folks. Okay, so I'm over here. I'm going to share my screen. My screen to this one. Is this my public Chrome? Okay, you see my screen again?
Yes.
When
Yes,
you
we
log
can.
in,
Yes.
it's going to be you log in with your meeting credentials. Oh, I'm so sorry. What is happening? Where'd my password go for this and why it's not saved anymore? This is a good example, folks, of what happens. I need to actually go through the AOCS system real quick, but could you give me just one pause? And I'm going to get on this and get this password for you. I need to pull it back up real quick.
Robert, I just sent you a direct chat with my password in it in case that's helpful.
That won't be because it won't have the speaker settings for it. Just 1 second. I'm so
okay.
sorry. The issues I had with Google logging me out of all my accounts every time they do an update, clearing everything, and I've just been having a real issue with it.
So one of the questions that's been coming over
yeah.
the chat is regarding pre-recording your presentation.
Mhm.
So if you are presenting via a pre-recorded video, well, actually, let me back up just one moment. The only two options for presenting at this year's meeting are either live in person from the podium or via a pre-recorded presentation. Unfortunately, there is no option to do a live virtual presentation. This was something we cannot accommodate for this year. So again, you're either at the podium or it's via a pre-recorded video. Now, what you'll need to do is create that pre-recorded video using a system like Zoom or Microsoft Teams or PowerPoint, and then saving that as an MP4 file. And then once you have that MP4 file, that is what you will then upload into the virtual meeting platform that Robert's going to show us, and that will be played during your presentation time. And as Bonnie mentioned, if you are presenting via a pre-recorded video, you have the option to either record yourself for the entire duration of your talk. Most talks have a 20-minute time block. Or you could record yourself for 15 minutes or 18 minutes, leaving that extra bit of time for Q&A. And Robert will show you how Q&A with remote presenters will take place in a few minutes. So that's up to you. We just ask you not to exceed your presentation time slot because, as you know, we run the presentations back to back. And so, we'll need to end so that the next person can begin. I will also mention that we have kind of gathered the how to record in Zoom, how to record in PowerPoint, and put those in the Presenter Resource Center. And I've put the link to that in the chat. And if you have any questions about any of that, you can always reach out to an AOCS staff member. I'll put my email here in the chat because we're happy to help and put you in the right direction on how to record yourself and get that MP4 video.
Hey, Amy, I'm so sorry. Obviously, this is horrifying. I had to clear all my passwords for this Google issue. The password I'm looking for is the AOC. It's my 2020. It's my AOCS login password. They had sent those logins for myself and for the Meet Breakout team.
Okay,
That-
if you give me
that-
1
that's the
second,
password
I'll
I'm
look that
looking
up for you.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking for, and I'm sorry, that's the one I need. If you're able to give it to me.
While we're waiting for Robert, another question that came in is about, do we have to use the AOCS template? You don't have to, it is available for you in the Speaker Resource Center. You certainly can use one for your organization. That's totally fine.
I'm in.
It's an
Okay.
additional resource for you.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Everyone, I apologize to AOCS and to, of course, all of the people that are on this call for wasting your time there. I don't know if anyone's dealt with updating Chrome and having it completely destroy your entire browser. I'm going to actually start using Firefox, and we actually, as an organization, are starting to recommend Firefox for one of these reasons. So I'm logged into the 2022 AOCS meetbreakout.com website. This happened by going through the AOCS website, which I was able to recover my password, and I'm on the site here. So what will happen here is when you land on this page after your password recovery, this will be the countdown. This is what you're going to see before the meeting starts. So this is going to be a countdown leading to the start of the meeting. And what you're going to see here is you're going to go to your top left and you'll see your name, and you're going to see you'll be a speaker. From here, you can select My Profile.
How to record it.
So within the My Profile section here, you're going to see it looks pretty blank at the moment. But right away, what you'll see is at least some information. So any of the talks or presentations that you're associated to are going to show up as a list here. So if you have 5 talks that you're giving, you'll see a list of 5 presentations here. And it gives the date, the time, and the name of the talk. Now, so from here, in this top right section here, you'll see these big buttons, Edit Profile, Edit Talks. They essentially both do the same thing. They take you to this page, which is 2 tabs, the Talks page and the Profile page. So in the Profile page, I'll go ahead and delete this one and kind of delete some of this. You'll see when you first get here, it'll be blank, but you can select Upload Image, and you could pick any image you'd like. You'll have this crop section, so you can zoom in and out, and then adjust your positioning, and then go ahead and say Save, and it's going to go there. You can do the same thing for a pet photo, and it'll show small highlighted on your profile your pet photo. The emoji selector, what this allows you to do is select any of your country flags or any sort of identifying flags that you'd like that are available, and you can also select the conference flag itself. Then there's just all your normal information below that, your prefix, suffix, your associations, addresses. Here's a spot here if you have an ORCID number. This is where you could enter that, as well as a publicly available bio. You'll see here a lot of this information here, as it says here, it'll let you know if it's publicly available. So the secondary contact, this is if you want an email or a phone number that you'd like to be available to any of the attendees. This is where you could put that there so they can contact you personally. Otherwise, your personal contact information will be masked from general attendees. You can add website and, of course, all of your social information, all your social links. When you get down to the bottom here, there's a slightly different section that you might see in your standard profile. The first is resources. Bonnie had mentioned this earlier in her presentation, discussing that you could upload resources that you want to share. This is not the area to upload your talk, a pre-recorded talk, or even your presentation file. This is strictly if you want to share files with attendees. This will appear in your talk page, which I'll show you in a little bit. And they're also, if they click through on your user profile, they'll be able to see your attached resources that you'd like to make available for download. And lastly here, you're able to change, this information is not editable, as you'll see. It's based on registration information, but it'll change based on what, if you'll be able to see here if we have wrong information within the system. And then below that is the permissions. Some of these permissions, they'll pop up when you first open the website, getting you to approve notifications, and of course approving cookies, which is international requirement. But this is also somewhere where you can change some of your notifications so that, as a good example, as a speaker, the Q&A does in fact, it continues as long as this website is active. So you might find that 2 weeks from now, or 2 weeks, sorry, not from now, 2 weeks after you've given your talk, there's new questions in your Q&A. Our system will send you an email notification letting you know that there's more activity in your Q&A section if you'd like to respond and continue that engagement. This will be an area where you can disable those functions. And of course, just like with most profiles, when you're done, you submit changes, and the changes will be saved, and you'll see profile updated successfully. If there's any errors, of course, that would be where it gives the error message, and we can find out, you'll be able to see what's wrong. Either it probably will be obvious of something that's not supposed to be there, but I've yet to see that happen. So then for talks, this section here, this is where in the same section is the talks area. It's the talks tab. So this is where you're actually going to be able to upload your, actually before I move off profiles, I'm sorry, let me back up. Does anyone have any questions on the profile tab, how to find it, and any of its contents? And are you seeing any questions in the chat that I could answer, Ellen?
Let's see, Robert, they're coming in pretty quickly. Let me try to go through them and see what I've got here.
Okay, if they're coming in still, I could just open mine up if they're coming live. I didn't know if there was a backlog.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Somebody was pretty excited to use the pet photo, so I'm excited to see the pet photos. That's just a personal comment.
Sure, yeah.
That'll be pretty fun. But no, as far as the platform goes, I think the questions are being answered. I think we're good.
Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to move over to the talk section. So the talks tab here, this is, you just select the talk that you want to work with. Again, if you had multiple talks, there'd be 5 talks there, and you could select each one you want to be working with. And from there, you're going to see a presentation video status. When you first encounter this, the status is going to say none, because you have not uploaded a video, and this will say upload presentation video. You see now it says replace presentation video, because as I've already sussed out, you can replace this video as much as you need to, and our system will it'll only use the most recent version that you've uploaded. So you'll select either upload presentation or replace, and it'll open up this area here where, of course, just like normal, you could drag in files, or you can bring them with your finder. They need to be MP4s, and I'll just bring a small one in so we don't have a huge time here. And this is where it says your presentation will be pre-recorded if you continue. Are you sure? What this is indicating is that it's going to send a pre-recorded talk to the session room. The system is going to mark you from the session chair's perspective as a remote presentation, and they will not be expecting to see you on site. So of course, all of that can be changed up until the deadline dates. But this is by uploading this MP4, you're essentially you're initiating the system of becoming a remote presenter. Below this is another area where you're able to upload any of the resource files, just like on the previous page, the profile. This will be files that you can upload to the, or that will be downloaded for any attendees and available to all attendees. As you can see, the AOCS Guiding Principles is a default resource guide, and we'll go out as well. Any questions on the uploading presentation video pages or video page?
Yes, Robert, can you please clarify if there is a size limitation for the video?
No, there's no size limitation for the video. For the resource uploads, there's 100 megabyte for the ones that are going to be downloaded by attendees. But for the MP4, there is no size limitations whatsoever on the upload. As long as it's an MP4, we will accept it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great. So then moving on from uploading the talk. So you've uploaded the talk, you're pre-recording, or you've simply completed your profile for being on site for the day. And so this is where I'm going to once again show you something else that was on my incognito browser. I'm going to go here. So what I'd like to show you is, so just to explain, the way the system works is that prior to the event start, when you navigate to this page, you're going to see this countdown timer. And when you try to navigate through to your talk, the actual talk page, it's just going to constantly redirect you to this countdown timer. So what I'm going to do here is show you what it'll look like kind of on the day of itself. One moment, I'm just going to switch this over. Okay, great. Are you still, which screen are you seeing? You're probably not seeing this screen, are you?
We are
You need to
seeing the
see
screen.
this, but you need to see this one. How about this now?
Yes.
Okay, so great. So this is what it's going to look like the day of. When you actually get to that home page, instead of a countdown timer, any of the talks that you're part of are going to show up here in your talks. So that just on your home page, and just to give you an understanding, this home page, you can access this from your phone, from tablets. It's all resizable, so you can navigate this from your phone if you just need a quick reference on when your next talk is. It'll show you if you've already presented, or if you're in person or remote. And then this is also where you're able to go to your talk page itself. So this is what the talk page is going to look like. Obviously, there's no video here. After during the live presentation, and then in the video on demand afterwards, this is your kind of persistent talk page. So the video will play within this talk page live, and then it'll be converted to video on demand within 24 hours of the session to be available on the video on demand section. As I previously mentioned, the chat and Q&A, which I'll open here, ask for permission, allow, is persistent with the talk. So during the live section, there'll be the chat and Q&A happening. And then during then whenever it converts to video on demand, this same chat and Q&A carries over and lives with it. So you're able to continue that engagement as you continue. This is also an area where on this page where everything a lot of your talk information is filled out. And if you've added any resources, they're going to actually show up here as a tab here. I should have added some for you, but they'll just show up as an additional tab called resources. And this will be where attendees are able to download those resources that you uploaded for sharing. So over before I go to I'm going to go into a little more detail on the chat Q&A. Before I go to the chat Q&A, any questions on navigating to your talk page and what your and what kind of what this talk page is?
The one question I have in here for you, Robert, I think though is about what you had covered just previously. The question is, if you're presenting live from the podium, do you upload your slides in the resources portion of the talks tab?
No. So if you're presenting live on site, then you'll just treat it like any other conference, and you bring your slides to the podium or to the as discussed 20 minutes prior on a USB for upload to the laptop. I think you can upload your slides there. Some people like to share their presentation slide deck with attendees. So I think maybe if I had mentioned that, I'm sorry, that was probably just bad data set to insert, but I've seen a lot of people want to actually share their presentation files if they're kind of marketing based. That you can certainly upload it there as long as it's 100 megabyte. But in terms of the actual day of presentation, for live presenters, they need to make sure they bring those talks in on a USB or a hard drive or
So that is the distinction. So we do ask that all presenters, regardless of how you present, you do upload your slides to the breakout platform to be shared with attendees but you don't need to use those slides to present with. It doesn't need to be your final presentation by any means. As Robert just said, you will still bring your final PowerPoint that you want to present from on a USB drive and put it into the computer at the podium.
Yeah, and something to note too, yeah, that's actually, you're free to upload them. It could just be a nice pocketbook for you, for your slides. You could upload them as a resource. And then if there is any issues, if you forgot your flash drive or if there's anything like that, you always have a backup of your slides in your resources file that you could download on site from any computer. You just have to log into your account from from anywhere and download it directly from your profile. So were there any other questions before I kind of delve into chat and Q&A a bit more?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think we've covered those so far.
Okay. You've covered chat and Q&A or the other questions?
The questions leading up
Okay.
to this point.
Excellent, perfect. All right, so on to chat and Q&A. So in this section here, we're kind of going to diverge, right? Because we have two very specific use cases. We have the on-site presenters, and then the the pre-recorded presenters. So I'm going to start with the on-site, and because that's ultimately, there is an audience on site and there's an audience on the virtual, and we'll have to cover them all. So the on-site presenters in the on-site room, when just you're aware, all the audio going, anything that's going into the sound system in the room is going on to the platform. And it's all, and during the live section, it's all happening live. And people watching from remotely will be able to hear everything in the room and can then, of course, start asking questions and mentioning chat in the Q&A and chat sections here. And so the people in the room there for doing a normal in-person presentation, when your Q&A section comes, of course the session chair is going to naturally be the moderator of this, as is usual. And what they will do is that you'll field questions from in the room as normal. People will use the microphones, they'll ask questions, and those questions will be answered as in normal. And thankfully, the people at home will be able to hear everything that's gone on. And then the session chair, who is going to be moderating the Q&A area, which you'll see here, and they have kind of their own view. They have because they're actually able to mark as answered. They can delete these as questions, and everyone who's participating can upvote questions. And so you can kind of get a group upvoting of what they want to hear. And so then in that live section, the session chair is then going to read through any questions that are in unanswered questions that are in the Q&A live in the room. And then that live presenter will be able to answer them with a microphone, and the remote audience will be able to hear said answers. So that's for your live presenter for the use case. Now for the remote, real quick, actually, any questions on the live presenter use case for the Q&A?
No, not in the chat.
Great. So now remote presenter Q&A. I've uploaded, the presenter has uploaded a pre-recorded MP4 that is going to be played in the room that day. So what will happen on the live ground is that the session chair is going to just double click and play the MP4 file from the podium laptop, which will be automatically sent there. And that's going to play your pre-recorded MP4 in the room on the projectors and simultaneously broadcast it through the breakout system for the virtual audience. So the in-room and virtual audience will be watching your MP4 live concurrently. And then when that is concluded, the session chair will then intro Q&A. Now there's kind of another sub split of use cases. You as a virtual presenter or a pre-recorded talk are not obligated to join the chat and kind of join live in the Q&A section on the chat. The AOCS has not put any expectation or requirement to that. However, if you would like to have that engagement with the audience and would like to participate, you can log in from anywhere, from your phone, home, wherever you're at, and during that live session, and jump in, and you could answer the virtual Q&A live as it's happening. And then whenever the session chair goes to moderate the Q&A session, they will go ahead and will of course, the live in room will be asked, and those questions will be heard through the microphone. And then the session chair will, if the presenter is available and live, they will read off the answers that have been given. And if the session chair, if they're not available, then they obviously will not be there to answer any questions, and they'll have to be for further later engagement. So I know the virtual or the pre-recorded talk, it's definitely harder to get your mind around a little bit. I know I have had trouble with it myself. It's a new world. So if anyone has any questions on that, please feel free. I'm open to it.
I think this is going to be pretty difficult, right? For the virtual presenter and for their answering any live questions, it has to go through Q&A section by typing the responses, and for the section chair to read them out.
Oh yeah, sure, but
very lengthy process, right? Scientific
just
explanation for phenomena oftentimes is not one line, two liners.
That's true.
as I said, so and that's part of the position that, there's definitely no requirement or expectation for if you've submitted a pre-recorded talk and simply want to submit the talk and let the session go as is, then there is no requirement to participate in the Q&A. This just affords an opportunity to for engagement with that live audience. Ultimately, as I mentioned, the chat Q&A is persistent. And this will continue after that live session. The live session will be a 20 to 30, 40-minute session. And then there's a week of people browsing the video on demand. And so there'll likely be a lot of follow-up question within the video on demand sections. And so I think you'll find that a lot of that chat is still going to happen, or a lot of the question and answer is still going to happen, on the platform. Okay, so any other questions? I'm sorry. I do understand. It does seem, I understand that it's a circuitous process, but we're just simply, I think the AOCS and Breakout are trying to facilitate remote presentations for people to be able to submit and still have engagement in some level. So if there's no other questions on the chat and Q&A section, I think that's...
This is Jill Mosher. I just have a question real quick.
Yeah.
The presenters, the live presenters, will their presentation be recorded and also be available at a later time?
Yes, absolutely. So basically everything that's anything that's getting played from that laptop podium, any talk, whether it's pre-recorded or live, is going to be treated the same from our platform. It'll be captured and available at the same time.
Okay, great. Thanks.
It's Joel, you raised your hand?
I have one quick question for the people at AOCS and the people for the virtual meeting. This interaction of trying to get questions from the virtual world is likely to mean we're going to have a problem with runover with time. We always have that problem anyway. Have you accounted for that in your recording of the sessions that'll be posted?
Great question, Mark.
Go ahead, Ellen. Sorry, it sounds like you had something.
Oh, I was just going to say it's a great question. And the nice thing is with this platform is that there is an actual human watching the presentations and cutting the videos after each talk. So if you do run a few minutes long, or the person before you runs a few minutes long, your introduction won't be cut off, and your last few sentences won't be cut off. There's somebody watching who will manually clip the videos.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there will be, while our system automates a lot of the collection and some of the general boundaries, yeah, as Ellen said, a human being is the last stop for every one of these clips. Okay, so great. So that's, we've covered Q&A and the talk page. Let me go back to
So Robert, I think
Yes.
there was a question from Chris Hunt saying that, is there an option for responding verbally to questions, or it all should be via chat?
Is there a response? You mean within the, for which use case? Are you a live presenter on site,
No,
or are
in
you a virtual, like a
virtual,
pre-recorded talk?
virtual.
You mean, yeah, there's not a video answer section, no.
Okay.
Correct. And one other question, Robert, about Q&A. The question is, will any Q&As be directed to our email/breakout platform? So maybe if you could review how the chat remains there, or how a presenter is notified when a chat is entered.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. Could you
Yeah,
repeat?
so
I'm sorry.
the question is, will any Q&As be directed to our email/breakout platform?
Oh, got it. Okay, yeah, yes. So if within your talk, if you have notifications and email notifications, if you've checked both of those for approval, then yes, whenever there are new questions and new activity in your chat and Q&A on your page, it'll send you emails, notifications.
And then another question from Martin. If you're presenting in person, will we see the virtual questions? Actually, that is something that the session chairs will be able to recap because they'll be monitoring the chat during the presentation. And so they'll be facilitating the Q&A both from the in-person audience as well as the virtual audience via the chat.
Yes. Okay. So I stopped sharing that. Was there? I don't think I missed anything on here, right? We're back to this. Is back to the normal page. Is there any questions about filling out your profile, uploading presentations, finding your talk times, and navigating your talk page and moderating or not moderating, but participating in Q&A and chat?
I have a question. Once your presentation is uploaded, is there an opportunity for you to review it to make sure that it, downloaded okay? And also for the session chairs, would they be able to review it to make sure that it fits within the timeline and all of that, ahead of time?
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. So there isn't a preview section within ours system. You have to just do a replace if you like to replace. So you need to go ahead and do your proofing on that. However, with that said, the speaker session chairs, anyone that uploads a talk, they have their own status page of everyone within their presentation or within their session. And it shows if somebody has uploaded a talk, they are now a remote presenter. And the session chair is able to download that talk immediately after you've uploaded it. They can download the MP4 anywhere they want from home. It doesn't need to be on site. Once they log into their profile, they'll have access to download that for review. So they can confirm who is on site and who is live, or who's remote and who's live. And then they can gather those videos directly from any source, if other than the podium, which will be the preferred method.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, this is Catherine Yu. We'll talk about the oral presentation. How about poster presentation for this year?
Yeah, so all of our poster presentations are happening within the same platform we used last year, if you were a poster presenter with us then. So all of our poster presenters are able to upload an e-poster, which is a single page PDF file into the system. And then you have the option of adding an audio track, kind of narrating your poster that can be played while somebody watches your poster. So all of our poster presenters have that option. And then there's also, in addition to that, if you're traveling to Atlanta, you can bring a physical paper poster with you and we will reserve a board for you.
Okay, that sounds good. Because I don't have myself don't have a poster because we chair a session for the poster session.
Oh, okay.
So I guess we don't have to do anything as a post session chairperson.
You're off the hook. You did your reviews. Your job is done. Congratulations.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'm sorry to ask this question. If the audio, can it just be music
Audio for which? I'm sorry.
for the poster?
There's certainly nothing stopping you. However, a narration of your poster is very valuable. And we've had a lot of really positive feedback from those that have added audio to on top of their poster.
Okay, thank you.
Robert, if you wouldn't mind, could you just please go ahead and show again how to upload your pre-recording and your slides to the site?
Sure. So when you log in, from your name on the left here, you can go to My Profile. And with My Profile, which is where I'm at now, you'll have the Talks and Profile tab, which I went to, and you can hit the edit if it already was editing because I was in the middle of edit. And from here, you can, do you want to show the profile again or just the talks, Bonnie?
Just the talks.
Just the talks.
The presentations and the
So
pre-recording.
in the edit profile, edit talks area, there's two tabs. It's the right tab here in your profile page. And you simply select the talk. There'll be a list of talks that are yours. So this talk here is the talk I want to upload to. And it'll show your status, and so you simply say replace, or it'll say, instead of replace, it'll say upload. And you select the video that you'd like to select, and I'm going to select a small one so we can see the status go quick. Let's say okay to confirm that you are now a pre-recorded talk, which, as I said, the session chair is going to get a status update of that, plus they're going to get a copy of this pre-recorded talk. And it gives us our confirmations that it went through and changes your status now to ready. And of course, if this status said error or status said if there was something wrong with the MP4 or if it was a wrong file type, it will give you those warnings. If you try to upload, let me replace that. I'll show you actually. Try to upload I guess probably a JPEG would do the same. Yeah, it'll tell you invalid format. Please upload files with the MP4 extension. So it won't let you upload bad files to create these errors. But if there is something wrong with your MP4 that the system thinks, hey, I can't play this, it'll tell you that right here that there's an error. And then the same thing, just resource files is just below it. That's what we talked about before. Anything you want to share with attendees, or if you just want to put your talk in there to make it available for you on site. And as mentioned, as you can see, I'll move this page. Everything on, this will all be available. You could be on your phone, and it's still going to be fully available for you to do everything you need to do.
Fantastic, thank you. And again, just to recap the expectation, if you're in person presenting, we ask that you upload your slides, your presentation to the platform, but then bring your final presentation to the meeting room. And that will be the one that you'll be showing during your presentation time. Just to be clear, the one that would be uploaded to the system, to the platform, would be something as an additional resource for the attendees that they can later go and download. But the presentation that you'll be giving at the podium will be one that you bring on a flash drive.
Okay, I have a question. For this link, AOCS already sent out or haven't sent out for this presenter's link? The link that Robert just showed, this link, everybody is already sent out to the rest. People are registered already or not?
Not yet. This is a preview. So
okay.
yes, so the site he's showing you right now is being finalized this week. And then on Monday, all of our presenters will receive an email from AOCS that gives you the URL and reminds you to use your AOCS credentials to log in.
Okay.
So right now, all you need to do is just finalize your presentation, and then next week you can start uploading things to the system.
Okay. Also a quick question. I know last year we have two links. One link is for actual attending meeting. The other link is for presenters to upload. Is this year what we same?
Great question. So Robert, can you speak to how it works when somebody is possibly a presenter and a session chair and an attendee? Is it one login for all three roles or not?
Yeah, it's the same login, and it's a permissions-based system. So what they'll see on they'll see on the session chair training when I assign myself to a session. If you're assigned to a session, that's any of the session share functionality will automatically populate for your profile, and you can find out all about that in the session share training. Because there's other sections. There'll be other things that aren't available to speakers or attendees that are specific to session chairs. So you only use one login, your AOCS login, and all the permissions are set based on, are you a speaker? Do you have a talk assigned to you? Do you have a session assigned to you? That's all automated. Okay,
that sounds good. Also, a quick question on your uploaded presentation. If a file is very big, can people present have two files, like a file 1, file 2 for one presentation?
Is that for a pre-recorded MP4 or for a
for MP4? For the MP4.
Well, we don't. The system doesn't have a file size limitation.
Oh, so they have to be the one file, right?
Yeah, you can just do one big giant file. Yeah, and it does have to be one file. It doesn't support multiple computer, presentations in the same talk.
Maybe one file, maybe like a very large size, but then maybe take a long time to upload.
We were very clear with our dev team that there was no limits on that, on that video, and there are none.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, and just a reminder for the MP4 file pre-recorded presentation that you'll be uploading. Again, that is the presentation that will be showed in the room during your time presentation, during your time slot.
How about one? Let's say for PowerPoint, if people don't want to use video, they just want to use audio, is that works?
You can upload. Wait, so you're saying if they want to upload an audio only file to just be played during their talk?
Yeah, because PowerPoint in the past we normally just recording. Each slide we recording the words, but they don't show any people's face, whatever.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, no, that's the same thing. So if you look at the AOCS resource guide for recording your presentation, there are several instructions, I believe, for recording your PowerPoints, doing slide by side. As long as ultimately, you can record your presentation with or without your face, as audio only, slides only. As long for our system, the prerequisite that you export it as an MP4.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, of course, naturally, we'd love to see your face on the recording.
We might just put a picture there.
Robert, another question. Are short videos in one's live presentation supported by the system?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, well, in terms of they'll just be normal. It'll be a normal laptop with, playing. If you have a normal presentation, just a PowerPoint, everything will be just as is. It's just a normal laptop, a normal PowerPoint. Everything will be supported as standard for playing locally.
And I'm guessing the question is because, like over Zoom, you might, if you have embedded videos or animations, sometimes they can get a little hung up, but that's not the case for Breakout.
No, because these MP4s are going to be, our system downloads them directly to the podium. They're not being played through the system or through internet or anything. They are being downloaded directly to the podiums. And then every 15 minutes, the podium looks for a new version. So if there's an updated MP4, it'll check for that. And then it downloads that. So then the speaker session chair will simply play that MP4 on the podium. And so if there are any sort of issues with the streaming, that won't be, that's just a whole other issue but we won't have that because we've got great internet there. We already checked it. So yes and no. It's not going to be, yes, we do support it. No, it won't be an issue.
Great. We have about 5 minutes left. Any other questions? Again, please feel free to unmute yourself or put them in the chat, whichever is easiest for you.
and I have tried to do my best at keeping up, but I'll put my email in the chat. If I missed you, please know it was not on purpose, and please follow up with me. I'm happy to continue answering questions.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Again, there have been some really great resources identified in the chat. So again, a link directly to the Speaker Resource Center on the site. We'll also be sending you out these additional resources by Friday with the pre-recorded, with this recorded training. So you'll have those also at your fingertips as well. Just looking, any last questions? All right. Looks like we've answered all the questions. Wonderful.
Helen,
Yes.
you mentioned about maybe the another session, maybe show people how to correctly record their presentation or something. Are you going to make that training again for that purpose?
There have been quite a few questions about how to pre-record. And
Yes.
so we have resources available, but we can definitely put out, a meeting invitation for those that would like more of a walkthrough of that process. So I will work with Lauren and we'll put something together and we'll email it out to you, definitely.
That would be great. That's also my concern.
Oh, great.
That's why I'm actually attending the meeting.
Yeah. So to be honest, because it seems easy, but actually people try to do it, take a lot of effort. So this is why if people, like people from your office, somebody can show how to do it. I mean, there are a lot of tricks for every program, there are a lot of tricks. So it will be helpful. I think like last year, IFT do this Zoom recording. They actually have a person from another company who actually help you record it. Of course, that costs more money, but it's okay if you can just show us how to do ourselves. It will be really helpful.
Okay, definitely, we can do that.
Great. My apologies again to everyone for the delay, deleting all my passwords right before we started the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Trying to make my desktop look like a brand new user is interesting challenge.
Okay, thank you. But this year we'll see.
Yeah,
this is a
sorry. It would be great if we can get the, how to record and everything like sooner. So
well,
if we are going to do it.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yes. We have the resources available that are the step-by-step by the software companies available on the Presenter Resources Center. But yes, as far as doing like a meeting with a live walkthrough, I will try to get that pulled together as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you so much.
That's very good. That's what we saw today to do this kind of training. That's what we saw, that's training for that part. But it's good, Robert, you show us how to get to the link, upload all these things. This is also important. Yes.
And you said we can view this again. Is that right?
Yes. So we are going to, this video has been, or this training has been recorded. So we will send you an email on Friday that will, I think Friday, that will contain a list of reminders from this call, as well as a link to watch this on demand at your leisure. So you can refer back to it if you need to.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
And for those who are interested and anxious to get started on how to record your presentation, again, there's a document that is in the chat that also is a link of the how-to, whether you want to record it in Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or even using the PowerPoint with the ability to record your presentation is all in that document. So again, that's a really helpful resource for you. So please use that as well as you're gearing up. And all of these resources can also, again, be found on the AOCS site as well. All right, no further questions. Last call.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
See you in Atlanta or see you online.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, you.